Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Monique Speaks and Reaction. So y'all, this is part 2 of the nurse that was so concerned about a patient that wasn't doing good. But y'all, this particular episode, y'all are going to find out what has happened to this nurse tech or what have you. And you know what? Some of y'all just ain't going to listen. Y'all going to continue to dance to the electric slide, moonwalk, do your TikTok dances, film with your ID on, and go on to say some things about your employer, your job, patients, and it's just not going to end well. Some y'all just are hard-headed, and what they say, a hard head makes a soft behind. You cannot read my lips, even though you can't see my lips, but read them anyway. You cannot come on the internet and talk about your patients, talk about your boss, talk about anything, or better yet, get up there and speak about identifiable patient information or patient information of family, of friends. You just can't. You can't. Even if you don't give any names, you cannot do it. So let's see what happened to this young lady who really had a heart and she was concerned about a patient who wasn't doing well. But let's see what happened to her.
Expect that video to do the number. So I was fired today. And you know what? I can't be mad at nobody but myself.
Let me repeat this video. Let's go back. So this is what happened to the nurse who was so concerned about that patient. This is part 2, okay, of so scary, Let's see what happened to her. Let her say it one more time for the people in the back. And if you get ready to shoot a TikTok video on your job or get on the internet and talk about your boss, watch this video before you do it. But some of y'all gonna do it anyway. Y'all gonna do it anyway, But listen.
So I was fired today. And you know what? I can't be mad at nobody but myself. The thing is, I didn't expect that video to do the numbers that it did. I literally was just upset, and I came on here to vent like I always do because I don't have anyone to talk to.
Let me stop this video right here. And let me give people a word of advice. And I don't know if you're going to listen, but YouTube, she came over there to vent. Typically, when you're venting, you're in your emotions. And when you are emotional, you're going to make bad decisions. The internet is not the place to vent. She says she has no one to talk to. Find a therapist or a good friend or someone that you accountability partner and vent to them. But do not read my lips. If you cannot hear me, well, you can hear me, but you can't see me. But try to imagine you reading my lips. Do not get on the internet and vent about anything, because I'm telling you, 10 days later, 5 days later, you're going to say, why did I do that? So she's fired. So fired. But one of the things she said is, I don't have anybody to talk to. Please, if you are employed, there's something called the Employee Assistance Program. Call them up. They may give you 6 visits, 10 visits, 12 visits. I don't know. It's free. And talk to somebody. But do not get on the internet and vent about your day at work, your wife, your husband, your divorce. Just don't do it. Especially if you're in the middle of a divorce or litigation, don't do it. It's not going to fare well. And she did not expect the video she did to do the numbers, meaning many people saw it. And guess what happened?
I guess I was just a little upset because the way they did it, they were standing by the time clock. And as soon as I put my badge and it said bling, they was like, can we talk to you for a minute? And I was like, sure, am I in trouble? Just making a joke.
Yeah, she was in trouble, y'all. She said they did it. She got to the time clock and they had security and whoever else standing there talk about, can we talk to you for a minute? And she said she was joking like, am I in trouble? Yeah, ma'am, you was in trouble.
It was like, no, you're doing great. How have you been doing? I know this is your 4th week here. Mind you, I'm still in training. So we get into the office and I noticed there's 2 police officers in there, the 2 security guards that patrols the hospital and whatever, and they were like, just have a seat. So I'm already panicking. I'm just like, did something happen to my grandmother? And they go, no, nothing happened to your granny. We just wanted to talk to you about a concern. They said, we seen some social media of you talking about a situation that happened here in the hospital. And because of it, unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go. So I was like, I don't understand. Why am I being let go from a video? Because like I didn't show anything of the hospital. I didn't show my badge. No one knows what state I'm in, and I didn't show anything. So she explained to me why, and I get it, and it makes sense. She said that if a patient was to come to the hospital and they seen me, they would no longer feel comfortable in the facility because of my video. Do you hear what I'm saying? So I mean,
I hear what you're saying, and I know exactly what you are saying. It makes sense, a lot of sense. And then she said it's best for us to let you go versus the hospital suing you. So basically, this is kind of like a what did we learn situation, and what I learned was you can still do the right thing, but just don't talk about it. That's what I learned. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I was fired today. Okay, let's go back to the video. And if she ever watches this video, what you should have learned from that is, yes, you can do the right thing. The hospital could have sued her for defamation, for libel, for slander, or something other, one of them things. I'm not a lawyer, I'm a nurse, right? However, what she could learn from this, and what she should have took is, because she said what she learned is you could do the right thing, but just don't talk about it. What she could have done was all the right things. She could have went and advocated for the patient, went to the supervisor and was like, I noticed this patient is not doing good. And his hemoglobin is low, and and just try to advocate for the patient. And then you could have talked to the family members and said, you know what, you can go to the nurse, and talk to the nurse or the doctor, or I could get the nurse or the doctor for you if you want me to, and leave it at that. Her getting on the internet and venting was incorrect, right? It didn't help the patient. And her getting up here and telling identifiable information of the patient, say if the patient's family member saw her and saw the video, they would come up to the hospital, and that would create possibly a litigation situation where people could sue the hospital, based on this person's video and what she was saying about what had occurred. So they told her it's best to let her go versus the hospital suing her. This young lady had only been on the job for 4 weeks. She was in training. And see, a lot of people get jobs in the medical field, and then they get out here on YouTube and TikTok, and they do these videos, get on the internet. Yes, you can advocate for your patient, but it's not appropriate to get on the internet or on social media to talk about it. Doesn't mean you can't advocate. Doesn't mean you can't, look out for your patients. That is not what the lesson, the moral of the story is. You cannot get on YouTube and vent, because at the beginning she said she was venting because she was upset. And we all know when we do things out of emotion, it doesn't usually come out. The other thing she did incorrectly, in my belief, is she wrote a note. Now, I don't even know what was on the note. I don't know. She said she told the patient family member something to the effect of, if you want to see this person living, you need to get him transferred up out of here. You don't write nothing in your John Hancock to nobody about nothing. It ain't your hospital. The thing that you do is advocate for that patient and encourage the family members to advocate for their loved one. Outside of that, there is nothing that you can do. And sure enough, you should not be on YouTube. And this young lady, she's young and she's learned her lesson. And I hope she continues to stay in the nursing field, but you cannot get on the internet and vent about medical situations at a hospital. And she was like, well, I didn't have an ID on, and nobody knows what state. Oh, so you think people don't know? People get to digging and looking at your uniform and be like, wait a minute, let me see. And they'll figure out what hospital it is. I don't know if you know about these YouTube streets and social media, but they will get to digging and figure it out. So no, we didn't see a badge. We didn't see an ID, but somebody at the hospital saw, like I told you, I don't know if there's social media police from every institution that all they do is watch videos, or it pops up, people are watching these videos. You got doctors, lawyers, nurses, people of all walks of life watching these videos, and you're thinking, I'm just making this video, ain't nobody gonna see it. No ma'am and no sir. Okay, so yes, she was so fired. They caught her at the time clock and told her, you gotta go and get on up out of here, and rightfully so. It just opens up a lot of liability, and she did not expect her video to get seen. But hospitals do have social media policies. Now, there's nothing wrong with her getting on YouTube and saying, look, if you in a hospital and your family member, from my experience, the patients that get the best care and the best attention are those that have family members and somebody checking on them. That has been, as a healthcare professional, that to me is legitimate. Is you can still voice your concern and advocate and do a video like that. You ain't identified nothing. You didn't say anything about the institution. You just gave your opinion. But you can't get on the internet and be talking about your boss, the job, the hospital. You cannot do it. So guys, I hope people take and heed the warning that stop getting on the internet and telling all your business and calling yourself venting. And if you don't have someone to talk to, some people don't, and they use social media as a means of venting out. I think social media can be a great place to learn, but emotionally, it's not the safest, wisest, or best thing to get up here and vent when maybe if she had talked to someone or had someone to talk to, the therapist or her accountability partner would have said, you know what, that might not be such a good idea for you to say what you're going to say. And if you're going to get up there and do a video, maybe you could say it this way, but don't go and write no, and you could see that she was emotional. But I hope she learned her lesson from this. Let me know. We have to, keep the privacy of patients always first and foremost. But also you have to understand and respect the institution and the people that are signing your check. Even if things are going wrong, the appropriate thing is to go through your chain of command and to the people on your job and encourage your patient's family to advocate for them. She could have very well said, you know what? I think it's best that you have somebody here, is, that way, people see that you're here. And it's always been known that if there's family members at the hospital or people checking, you're going to get the attention that you need. But anyway, y'all, she was so fired, and it's unfortunate, but I agree with the institution, and I think she's learned from it, but it doesn't mean that she should not go into her next, job and her next work experience not advocate. She should continue to advocate for patients. Maybe this would be a situation where she'll become maybe like a compliance officer or an advocate for patient and safety standards or something like that. You never know how this could turn out. So y'all, stop. Just look, read my lips. Stop it. Stop getting on the internet and talking about your job, talking about where you work, and thinking for a minute that nobody is going to see these videos. They will, and it may affect your employment. All right, y'all. I'll see you on the next upload. Let's get down in the comments and let me know what you think about this video. All right, y'all. Peace, and I'm out.